Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, The Wealthy Mindset. It's yours truly, Money Making Mitch. And as usual guys, this is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence and research. There is a lot to talk about. So let's start with this. Yesterday, some news came out that sounded very unfavorable. And a lot of people panicked. The wheat got shaken off the tree. Just like I said, on the way up, there's going to be pullbacks. And as the wheat was shaken off, what was Money Making Mitch doing? I was at the bottom of the tree like any other lion feeding. So now I'm up to 13,922 shares, getting close to my 14,000. I want to say thank you to the week. Also, the news that came out, well, let's talk about this first. Uber partnership with Waymo will start robotaxi in Austin and Atlanta next year. We await the release of Onvo for the next big catalyst of the company on the 19th, which will push us up again past the $6 mark, in my opinion. And as two Chinese chip companies, chip makers, getting ready to do their IPO, yes, you heard that right, more sleepless nights for NVIDIA. And Germany joins Spain's with no extra tariffs on EVs. Let's take a look at this clip of what happened yesterday to panic the market, and then we shall discuss it, guys.
What do we know so far about this?
So Beijing is asking its EV brands, its auto brands, to do two things here. It's to not create full-blown factories overseas, and also not to export key EV technologies abroad. So these are two very key drivers here. And then also on top of that, why they don't want them to have full-blown factories abroad is to use the capacity, to use the jobs at home that have been created in order to better utilize the production and output, and also to keep more of the jobs really at home. Now, this really comes as a meeting was held with around a dozen car makers back in July. And so therefore, with this meeting, these directives and these soundings that Beijing gave is also just to tell car makers really what it prefers, it wants to do. So this is an important signal. But this really all comes at a time when these car makers, these automakers, the EV makers are pushing abroad already. They've made massive factory commitments overseas, whether it be in Hungary, whether it be in Turkey or Spain. And so there's been a lot of commitments already being made. And so therefore, how the car makers now have to balance that with what Beijing wants is another matter.
Yeah, well, what are the plans there now? I mean, have you heard from any of these car makers and what impact it could have on these expansion plans that are already in place?
So these car makers are not commenting on the meeting, and so the backdrop is whether these commitments can still go ahead, but also these overseas investments, which for these car makers are important in the locations because they also have a kind of political significance. These are countries almost more friendly towards China, right? So these are important as these kind of investments are a political tool overall. So this meeting did actually say that Beijing doesn't want to see investment, for example, in India because of tensions that have been ongoing, and also in places like Turkey, which decided to slap increased tariffs on foreign automakers. They also said, Beijing said, we don't necessarily want you to commit straight away. Let us know in advance. So there's lots of things going on, especially as the subject around tariffs continues to boil on.
And you're an interesting case study because you are an American, obviously. You've done a lot of incredible manufacture here in the United States, but you also work with China.
I've spent a lot of time in China and met with the leadership many times.
Maybe a good question to ask is, what are some things about China that people don't understand, positive, just in the culture? What's some interesting things that you've learned about the Chinese?
Well, the sheer number of really smart, hardworking people in China is incredible. There are really, if you say like how many smart, hardworking people are there in China, there's far more of them there than there are here, I think, in my opinion. And they've got a lot of energy. So, I mean, the architecture in China that's in recent years is far more impressive than the U.S. I mean, the train stations, the buildings, the high-speed rail, everything. It's really far more impressive than what we have in the U.S. I mean, I recommend somebody just go to Shanghai and Beijing look at the buildings and go to, take the train from Beijing to Xi'an where you have the terracotta warriors. China's got an incredible history, very long history. And, I think arguably in terms of the use of language from a written standpoint, sort of one of the oldest, perhaps the oldest written language.
All right, guys, welcome back. So basically, people are panicked because the Chinese government, for the most part, is saying they want their companies to build at home. But why did the uneducated investor poop in their pants and ran away again? Well, they're thinking that's a bad thing. But there's a reason why the European automakers, along with American automakers like Tesla, went to China. They went to China because of inexpensive labor costs, just like what you see happening with Boeing today. They have a strike. The union is striking because 5% each year for the next 4 years is not enough for them as an increase. And I said it in a video before where to become profitable, NIO is not going to have to come to America to become profitable. And we see that happening, proving my theory right. And I did a video on that in the past. I'll leave the link in the comment section for those. In that video, I also spoke about a YouTuber, because this has been bothering me, about a YouTuber who said he made a mistake with NIO, but he'll hold his shares. And I said his tongue will twist in his mouth. He'll come back and say, oh, they're turning things around. And exactly what I said happened. So I'll leave that link for you guys to see, where I go into detail of why NIO will not have to come to America to become profitable. And why am I saying that? Well, a lot of people are thinking that, well, let's talk about this first. By the Chinese government saying they want their EV companies to build at home, people are thinking that was a bad thing. So they panicked and they ran away. But like I said, there's a reason why it's better for us to build in China for cheaper labor costs, cheaper materials, etc., etc. And that's a good thing. That's why I was feeding. And now I'm almost at my 14,000 shares. I'm at 13,922. So the US 100% duty on Chinese EVs to take effect on September 27th, a report says. And this was on CNEV Post. And people are panicking yet again. Oh, this is bad. It's not bad. Because eventually what's going to happen is they're going to have to let us in. They're going to have to let our cars come in as an incentive for GM and Ford and the others to continue with the EV build out, or else there will be no incentive. And the price of these Ford and GM and, dog poop, cat poop, rat poop, bat poop, the whole crew, they will have no incentive, and we will continue to have overpriced junk in America, whilst the rest of the world continue to experience first world quality products. So this is why, guys, I did not panic. And as I understand, as Envoy is released on the 19th, it will be another catalyst to take us past $6. By the end of the year, I think that AI model was right. We're going to be in the $9 range or more. And then next year, we'll catalyst even more with the ET9 and the EU expansion, Italy, France, and Spain, etc., etc. So this is why I don't panic when you see minor speed bumps. There's actually an article on CNEV Post that goes into detail of why the Envo is better than the Model Y in so many ways, and there's even a YouTube video about it. So I hope you guys found this video, even though it's not long, to be informational, inspirational, and motivational yet again. These videos take a long time to do, guys. So I hope you guys don't mind giving that thumbs up. If you haven't yet subscribed, you might want to think about doing so, because in this channel, we are waking up the middle class for the first time to get in at the ground level and get a major piece of the pie, despite the rhetoric and the fake news and the propaganda. And like 50 said, we get rich or we die trying, guys.